Okay, here we go with section 3.1, lines and angles. Our objectives for today: I can identify parallel, perpendicular, and skew lines. I can identify the angles formed by two lines and a transversal. A lot of vocab here. Parallel lines, perpendicular lines, skew, parallel planes, transversal, corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior. A lot of stuff. Okay, we're going to go through it. We're going to make sure that we've got it. It shouldn't take that long, and it's pretty basic as long as we're paying attention to the details of these things. So the first ones that we're talking about are different types of lines here. We've got parallel lines. Parallel lines are coplanar, do not intersect. The important word here is coplanar. Coplanar, of course, means that they are on the same plane. So if they're on the same plane, do not intersect, then they are parallel. You can tell from the figure that AB and EF are parallel based on those markings. Those markings mean parallel. Same thing with EG and FH. You've got the double arrow here. Those mean that those are parallel as well. So that is our definition of parallel. Make sure that you also know that your symbol is that parallel symbol, those two lines straight up and down. So AB is parallel to EF, etc. For perpendicular, you see the symbol there, our upside down capital T. Perpendicular lines intersect at 90-degree angles. So we've got AB and AE are perpendicular. We can tell because of that box, right? That box in the corner, that tells us that those are perpendicular. We typically see that in a right triangle to show that it's a right angle. That really means perpendicular. We also have skew lines. Skew lines are not coplanar. They are not parallel, do not intersect. In the figure, AB and EG are skew. AB and EG are skew. They're not going to cross each other. They are not on the same plane. They're not parallel. So those are skew lines. For skew, we like to think of it something like this, where this is one line and this is another. They're never going to cross, right? They're never going to touch each other, but they're not parallel, right? One's going this way, one's going this way. So those are skew lines. What we got to be careful of is something like EG and BW in here. EG and BW, those are actually parallel. They're not located on the same plane that's drawn, but there is a plane that contains EG and BW. If we draw a plane through that entire figure, it would contain both those lines. So those are not skew, those are actually parallel. We've also got our parallel planes, are simply planes that don't intersect. You can use that same parallel symbol. So if we go to identify a pair of parallel segments, we could say LM and QR. Those are parallel. We see those arrows on there. A pair of skew segments, KN and PQ. Just make sure that they're not perpendicular. Make sure they're not parallel. They cannot cross and they cannot be parallel. So KN and PQ works. Perpendicular segments would be NS and SP, and then parallel planes, remember we name planes with 3 letters, so we could have plane NMR and plane KLQ if we wanted. So go ahead, I want you to practice naming these, practice writing them with the correct symbols. Remember we're talking about segments here, not lines, so make sure you're labeling that correctly. So go ahead, try it, pause it, come on back. Alright, parallel segments. You could have had BF and EJ, CG, DH, BE, CD, a lot of different options there. Skew segments, BF and DE would be one option. Just make sure, again, that they are not parallel. They should not have the same arrow. You need one with a 2 arrow, one with a 1 arrow that don't intersect. Perpendicular, BF and FJ, that's the one with the box in the corner, so that's a good one. And then we've got our parallel planes. You could choose FJH and BCD if you wanted. Moving on, we're talking about a transversal. A transversal is a line that crosses through 2 other lines. So angle or line T here, that would be our transversal. It cuts through the other 2 lines and forms these 8 angles. Forms these angle clusters, if you will. So we have names for specific pairs of these angles. Corresponding angles are on the same side of the transversal and the same side of the lines. So I like to say they're in the same general location of the group of 4. So if we look at 1 through 4 and 5 through 8 as 2 different groups of 4, If they're in the same general location, they are corresponding. So that would be 1 and 5. 1 and 5 are corresponding. They're both in the top left of that figure. 3 and 7 would be corresponding. 2 and 6, 4 and 8 would be corresponding. For alternate interior, we are looking interior, so we're looking inside the two lines where it says interior, right? Somewhere inside the lines. And then alternate means opposite sides of the transversal. So that could be 3 and 6, or it could be 4 and 5. Those are alternate interior. Alternate exterior, so still alternate, still opposite sides of the transversal, but now we're talking exterior. So that would be 2 and 7 or 1 and 8. Those are alternate exterior. And then we've got same side interior. Same side interior is exactly what it sounds like. We are on the interior, but now we are on the same side of the transversal. So same side interior would be 3 and 5 or 4 and 6. Those are same side interior. Make sure that you know these angle pairs. We're going to use these quite a bit over the next 3 lessons. Okay, so why don't you try these, see if you can come up with it, and we'll give possible answers. I know there are going to be more out there, but why don't you try it, pause it, come on back, see if it makes sense to you. Alright, for corresponding, could have 1 and 3, could also have 2 and 4, 5 and 7, or 6 and 8. Alternate interior could be 2 and 7 or 3 and 6. Alternate exterior 1 and 8 or 4 and 5. Same side interior 2 and 3 or 6 and 7. You just need one of those pairs for it to work. When we look at these problems, it's not always so obvious as to which line is the transversal. So just keep in mind that for a given angle pair, to locate the transversal, you have to locate the line that connects the vertices. What we mean by that is if I'm looking at angles 1 and 3, the line that connects those two vertices, where angle 1 and angle 3 are, the line that connects both of them is L. So L would be my transversal there for this one. Okay, so they're asking for what is the transversal and then classify the angle pair. Well, if L is the transversal and we're looking at 1 and 3, now we're looking at the bottom left corner of this group of 4, the bottom left corner of this group of 4. If they are the same, right, we said that those are corresponding. So that would be for A. Now for B, when we look at angles 2 and 6, now we're using this vertex and this vertex. So now our transversal is letter N. We look at 2 and 6. 2 and 6 are going to be alternate interior. They're both inside the two lines, because remember, we're ignoring this. We've got our two lines cut by transversal here. So we're inside our two lines. We're on opposite sides of the transversal. Those would be alternate interior. For letter C, 4 and 6, we are dealing with letter M as the transversal, and then we will have, those are alternate exterior if we look at 4 and 6. Alternate exterior there. Okay, so try it, pause it, come on back. Okay, for angle 2 and 5, we do have a transversal of N, and then those are same side interior. Inside the two other lines, on the same side of the transversal, same side interior. Here's your lesson quiz. Try it, pause it, try it, come on back, see if you got the right thing. Okay, pair of parallel. You could have any number of things here, but EH and FG would work because specifically those have the arrows on it, right? So if those have the arrows, let's use those. Pair of skew segments could be BF and EH. That would work. Just make sure you have one going up and down, one going side to side, and they're not intersecting. Perpendicular, if we use the box, we would have CG and GH. Parallel planes, ABC, EFG. There you go. Okay, how about these? Pause it, try it, come on back. Pair of alternate interior. Well, we got to look at our lines cut by transversal. The transversal we have here is the line IJ, and your lines are LE and KF. So our alternate interior angles could be EHG and HGK. So if we look at that, EHG would be here, HGK would be there. Alternate interior angles always form this Z. Okay, you're always going to see a Z with alternate interior angles. One pair of corresponding angles. Well, we could say, again, any number of things, but EHJ and FJG. Make sure that makes sense to you. Alternate exterior could be IHE and then JKG, or JGK, sorry. Those are alternate interior. And then same side could be EHG and HGF. So even if you didn't get the same things, hopefully you look at it and it makes sense to you for those answers. A lot of basic stuff here, your angle pairs, parallel, perpendicular, skew. Make sure you know the difference between parallel and skew, and then all those angle pairs, because we will be using those in 3.2 and 3.3. So that's it for section 3.1.